So good evening. Thank you very much for coming to attend, and I think we're very, very privileged to have a panel of people who are unusually well suited to talk about what is a subject that is not just intellectually interesting, but also quite literally a subject of life and death, a matter of life and death. And so I want to start by the person who is in front of the camera, Christine. And you played a role as a different kind of prosecutor before you arrived at the ICC. And I'd be interested in you sharing with us how the ICC experience was different from that of a regular prosecutor operating in a domestic system.
I think as the movie shows, what's fundamentally different is the challenge is huge. When I was prosecutor in New York, I was a federal prosecutor here, and you have enormous power. And you work inside an extremely well-developed system that has 150 years of history. The legal system, the judges are well respected. So the boundaries are very clear, and the possibilities are very impressive. And when you work at the ICC, the mission is incredible. The objective is incredible, and it's an amazing privilege to be able to work in that system. But at the same time, every day you bite your fingernails and rip out your hair over things that seem impossible to do. And I think the movie conveys very well the mix of factors that make progress seem like it's going to be very hard to achieve.
So I suspect you can speak at great length about all the things that were difficult, frustrating, and almost impossible about that endeavor. And I suspect there's a book in there which we will soon see. But tell us a little bit about the moments for you that were the most rewarding, where you felt all the blood, sweat, and tears were worth it.
Well, without a doubt, the moments that everybody on the staff enjoyed the most and felt the most privileged to experience was meeting the victims. You meet people when you're in the investigation and you're in Uganda or the Congo. Those are the two places that I went to. You meet victims who really have no reason to believe in justice at all. They've never known it, they've never experienced it, and yet when someone appears and says, hey, I want to listen to your story, what do you have to say about what happened to you? What do you want me to know? What do you want me to tell the judges back in The Hague? People literally line up to have the chance to tell you what happened to them. And it's really inspiring. As a lawyer, I find that very inspiring that there is this innate trust in law and the rule of law, and this belief that if you have more rule of law, it will help make your lives more stable and more prosperous.
A final question for now, but it strikes me that what differentiates this court from a domestic court, and there are many ways in which it's very different from a domestic court, is that it's inescapably linked with global politics, precisely because the enforcement of its arrest warrants, the capacity for it to have global legitimacy are linked to global geopolitics. And I wonder if you would share with us a little bit how that sense of the intrusion of politics into the sphere of law, which I think we all like to believe that law is objective and insulated from politics. Did politics intrude, and in what ways, and how did that affect your work?
That's the central challenge, I think, for global rule of law, is that it's not so much that politics intrudes, it's that politics already occupies the space. And politics is essentially a power game. It's lawless. You know, when people decide, oh, well, there was a massacre somewhere, or there's been genocide, and we're just going to look the other way, we're going to grant amnesty, or we're going to pretend like it never happened. As somebody who worked in a domestic prosecuting system, I find that very strange. When I offered people deals, I had to be authorized by somebody else, and there had to be a reason, and there was still a judge who could overrule me. But in the sphere of politics, it's sort of been decided that it's okay that international mediators or a powerful country can step in and say, well, we're just going to pretend like 4,000 people didn't die. Or, you know, and that's very bizarre. And I think one of the challenges that we saw at the ICC, and certainly the prosecutor really believed, is that one of the central missions of the ICC is to say that international relations must operate within the rule of law, just like everything else operates within the rule of law. It seems like a crazy, simple thing to say, but yeah, power politics has really not lent itself in the past. It hasn't practiced in the past according to any parameters or framework of even the barest minimum standards of law. Even let's not commit genocide. Can we agree on that? And that's a pretty, you know, when you think about it, it's just world history. And coming out of that habit of being able to just say we're going to pretend like it didn't happen is very difficult. It's convenient to be able to say we're just going to forget that happened, or we're going to turn our back, or we're going to wait until maybe it happens again. It takes a lot more discipline to say, you know what, we're going to insist on accountability. But it's not something that I think the world community has really gotten accustomed to yet. It's not an idea that's really been internalized.